The Biden administration has announced its highly anticipated plan to forgive some student loan debt for some Americans. The administration said it will cancel $10,000 worth of student loan debt for borrowers with incomes less than $125,000 a year, up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients, and it will extend a pandemic-era payment freeze that is set to expire at the end of this month. President Biden's decision follows a year of uncertainty and debate over doing this, and it might not result in the policy win the president that is actually hoping for. Several of his Democratic colleagues have been putting pressure on the president to cancel $50,000 of student debt for all borrowers, which would actually, I don't know, make a dent in some of the actual costs of college these days. Joining me now is Kristen Meyer. She's the editor-in-chief at The Balance. And I hate to be sort of like scoffing at $10,000. Like $10,000 is not nothing, but the annual cost of colleges these days is like 10 times that, Kristen. How did they end up with $10,000? I mean, it's like a drop in the bucket. Does this even scratch the surface?
That's such a good question, because it costs an arm, a leg, a kidney, and your firstborn, I think, nowadays, in order really to afford a college degree. But the reason that they decided on this $10,000 is that because for many borrowers, their outstanding debt is actually only in the 10 to 20,000 range. Now, this does mean that, of course, that there are still millions of Americans that have much, much more in student loan debt, particularly if they took on a pricey degree, if they went to law school, perhaps, or if they went to medical school, their student loan bills are, of course, going to be much higher. Unfortunately, for some of those recipients, they probably earn more than that $125,000 cap, so they're not going to be getting any kind of relief. But this is, at least according to the White House, going to give immediate relief to about 8 million borrowers of the about 43 million that have student loan debt right now.
You know what's funny? When you said that, you're like, unless you went to law school. And I'm like, oh, you mean me? No. And also one of my best friends who is also, she is a lawyer, practicing lawyer. And she said, Joe Biden, I need more money than this. I mean, one of the things that I've been thinking about is the fact that there's a cap at $125,000. So if you did pay for a graduate degree, a medical degree, a law degree, some sort of degree to get you over $125,000, you owe more, and now you're not getting anything, right?
So this is such a good point, because I hear a lot of people saying, you know, they're really annoyed that they're over that cap of 125,000. And then, of course, a lot of people on the other side are saying, well, you earn more than 125,000. You don't actually need this student loan relief. But I actually do want to kind of put this into perspective. I think we believe that a lot of the folks that are receiving some of this debt forgiveness are in the 1%, right? They're making millions of dollars. They're from families with a lot of generational wealth. But frankly, those are not the families that were taking out student loans to begin with. A lot of the people that I know, at least personally, that have these really high student loans, but also high paying jobs, frankly, came from low income families. And when they went to college, they said, I need a high paying job. And they got one, but now they're helping their families out. They're trying to make it on their own. And so that though they make more than $125,000, they're still not doing as well as I think many people believe they are.
This is such an important point, and it's really important for people to understand this. You know, when you are a person of color, certainly from a more marginalized background, and you get to have a job where you make $125,000, you're paying for your whole family, all the cousins, all the wives, all the children, all the, you know, like emergencies that pop up. And you took out loans in order to get there, right? So you're not getting any loan forgiveness now. And again, people who can afford to go to college without student debt, their parents pay in one check at the beginning. And then when the tuition goes up every year, they don't have to pay the extra. They actually save money. This whole thing sometimes feels like a scam, but I'm not going to go there. My next question for you, though, Kristen, is there a potential for any political backlash, given the fact that $10,000 isn't going to cut it for so many of the borrowers out there who have been drowning in this debt in the middle of a global pandemic?
I think where most of the backlash is going to be coming from, and we're already starting to see it, are from those Americans that frankly didn't get a college degree. And I do think that this is an important point to talk about. Those Americans that did not get a college degree, perhaps because college was unaffordable, they are, a lot of them, what we call blue collar workers. And a lot of them, frankly, are, and I understand why, pretty upset that, a lot of folks that got a college degree and are earning more money than them, because we do know that people with college degrees tend to earn more than those without, are now being given this benefit, essentially money that they can then use to perhaps buy a house or a car or pay off debt and essentially better their financial prospects, really creating an even wider divide between those that have a college degree and those that do not. And I think that's a very reasonable point to really bring up here. But I think that that argument or that conversation really touches on this main point here, which is that, frankly, so many people are forced into getting a college degree because without it, your financial prospects are far more slim. But unfortunately, college education is just more and more unaffordable with every single passing year. I've been looking at this stat. College tuition has increased 170% since 1980. Wages have only gone up about 9%. So college is far less affordable now than it was just 40 years ago.
And that's why when, older people are like, what are you complaining about? I paid for my college. Your college was $8,000, sir. $8,000 is you'd actually have profit left over from Joe Biden's debt forgiveness, right? Kristen Myers, it's always great to have you on. Thank you so much for being here from The Balance. Please stay safe.
Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.